That current is strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in between these two little
Yeah,
summit we just
between
were
the
at.
two
Come on,
mounds.
please.
Yeah,
You can see the
Yeah,
tether
come
is
on,
just
yeah.
strung right out behind you.
right.
Yeah.
So I guess the current's being funneled in between these two features.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And that's what's causing those sand ripples, too.
Kind of surprised there aren't more corals along the edge, though.
Right?
Some people online are wondering about seeing any, larger fish or even so much as sharks, and I'm guessing since we are in such a kind of barren space right now that expectation's pretty low. Is that right?
Yeah, you can sometimes get sharks kind of just randomly. I don't really know what guides their distribution down here in the deep, but the fish have been pretty sparse as well.
But
Probably the most critical question I've seen so far is how much coffee do we go through on the Nautilus?
Coffee is probably one of the things that people bring their own. It's like the most common thing that people bring their own of.
I wish I had gotten the memo about the chocolate-covered espresso beans. That sounds like a really good, good snack.
Yeah, coffee is just the start. The delivery mechanism of caffeine is
Right, if you ever
legion.
wondered if caffeine was a drug or not, coffee is the thing that most people bring to the boat.
Yep.
They travel with their own.
And their own device.
Yes.
There are so many ways to make coffee.
There really are.
You should see all of our devices.
This guy's getting munched on, isn't he?
Yeah, can we take a quick
Ooh.
look at that part
Yep.
that's colonized?
Go ahead and push in a bit there, video. That's great, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like there's some barnacles growing on that
Wow.
skeleton.
wow.
So strange.
Go ahead and push in a bit more if you can.
That's so cool.
Try to get in frame again.
Yeah, some little, you can see the cirri, so the barnacle's feeding apparatus are those feathers coming out of the white
Oh, yeah.
parts, and so it's essentially the foot of the barnacle, but they stick it out
Uh-huh.
and they feed and they pull it back in, so they're filter feeders as well.
Yeah.
And you can see the feet of the crinoid, or feet, the cirri, or what they're called, wrapped around, and that bare skeleton is exposed. So what could have happened
Good,
is
come a
that
little bit
the
wider, video.
crinoid landed at some point, and over time that
Go ahead and
tissue
come a little bit
from
wider,
the coral
video.
has just kind of like either died off, kind of migrated,
I'm
and
gonna
so
keep
that
moving.
looks like that crinoid's been there for a while.
Well, I mean, and we've talked a little bit here and there about how, like, these corals are part of larger communities, right? And
That's
so
full wide.
right now we can
Roger.
really see a
Yeah.
good example of that. All different organisms sort of hitching a ride on the coral to get up into
Coming
the
up.
current.
Yeah.
Also coming up.
Yeah, this feature should be pretty narrow and flat for maybe 60 meters.
Right, Roger.
More like 100 meters.
So what's the distance we've traveled so far? What can we say to other groups, other watches?
Oh,
Yeah, the real question is, are we winning?
Oh, we're definitely winning. I think we're at like 1,100 meters now.
Wow.
Carrying the
Maybe
entire
1,200.
ship.
Yeah. Leave them nothing left.
Even
Though we don't have a rock sample yet.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, with
Oh,
the
we have
rock
other
we're looking
samples.
for, is it like we just want an individual,
Yeah.
non-attached?
Yeah, we're looking for a non-attached rock, but we're also hoping that it's going to be basalt and not altered. So it has to be, in a sense, kind of freshly detached, which makes it even harder to find.
yeah.
Greg, it sounds like you've been doing these rock collections for a while.
I think Greg's become a geologist, biologist, chemist.
Yeah.
You learn as you go.
Yeah.
I don't think we're totally against there being, like, you know, a manganese crust or alteration on it.
Right, yeah.
Because this part, we're also interested in studying that
Ooh, it's fun.
around here.
This current really is ripping now.
Can we take a look at the yellow and pinkish one that's right in front of us?
Sure.
Can I zoom?
Yeah, go ahead. I might.
Are we
That's
looking
very
at this
partial.
with the potential of sampling?
No,
Okay.
just looking.
That's great.
Oh
Stand
yeah,
by.
no.
This rock
A
has
lot
a
of
big
stuff
mouth.
going on in there.
Yeah, so
Doesn't it seem like a big?
Oh, wow.
There's a
Oh, this
Bazinga.
is so beautiful.
got
So
its
on the
tiny
left, the coral
Grammet.
looks like a hemicorallium, but it's been colonized by zoanthids. So that's the yellow polyps on there are actually
Maybe you want to
another
actually
type
come
of
wide for a sec. I'm
coral
going to butt up
that's
against the rock.
overgrowing the original
Getting
coral.
pushed around too much by the current.
Wow.
Thanks. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna kind of nestle myself in here so that we get a better zoom. Okay, go ahead and push in there a bit.
All right.
Yeah, so the pink underneath, you can see the smaller polyps, and then covering it are those bigger yellow polyps. So
Come a little way.
zoanthids don't produce their own skeleton
great.
in the way that other corals do.
Mm-hmm.
So they just
That rotating rubber top
essentially
on
start
the
taking over
handle makes it
another
much more
colony.
difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
It's really pretty.
So
though.
like exclusively, they live on other corals?
Yeah.
It does. It's a hard one. Sorry guys.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
No.
good.
Can I
Push
come wide,
down.
please?
That was great. Thank you.
I wonder if we should make a note to glue that.
It's cool. It's like a little.
Yeah, it's a
It
little shoot.
seems like there's a whole lot of stuff going on inside that rock there.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if like there's not like a current eddy or something. It's somehow like collecting a lot of nutrients in there.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely like a flow through, right?
Yeah.
There. There's
Yeah.
a little arch, so there might be.
And it's definitely like one of the higher points of this area. So even if it's not the arch alone, it's higher up than a lot of the other.
And when you have a three-dimensional structure like that, you also just have more opportunity to
Yeah.
settle in there.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep the ship moves coming. That's
Go ahead.
okay.
Nice big
Mm.
Iridogorgia.
Thanks, Ben.
Ooh, nice long sea pins to the right.
To the right?
To
oh,
the
yeah.
right. See
Upper
those?
right? Go ahead and do a quick zoom in there video.
On this one?
Sure. That's great.
It's interesting. The tip of it looks like it's like loose. I wonder how that would
Oh.
even happen.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks like denuded
like
over there or
snapped,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and come wide, please.
That's great. Thank you.
Coming up.
So we're at what, 1,600 meters right now?
1648.
1648. There we go. Coming up. And then about how close to the surface are we getting on this dive?
This dive will be about 1150.
Okay.
So we have about 500 meters vertical to go, but
Okay.
I think a couple kilometers still to the total
Along the
dive.
edge. Okay.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think we're planning on going all the way to the surface.
Well, I'm pretty stoked for some of the later dives because I think we are getting pretty close to
Yeah.
the surface for some
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
Nice.
So
hopefully.
if we
Yeah.
if we make it to like 11:43 or 50 or whatever, do you think that before the end of the dive we'll keep going up, or do you think that we'll just recover early?
That's a good question. I think it depends on what we're seeing up
Right.
at the top.
How interesting. is
Right.
it? Okay.
Because
Great.
we do have the last kind of
All right, Jesse, an
part
hour
of the
to find
track
the
is
rock.
along the top
Yeah.
where it's
Right.
pretty flat.
Right.
Yeah.
How about that one?
So, because this seamount has
That you
like
can
a
pick
flat
up.
top that we're trying to get
Right.
to, right? So we
Yeah.
have this kind of large
Oh, yeah,
underground
easier.
volcanic mountain with like a flat top
These look
that
kinda
we can
rubbly though,
explore.
huh?
Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
look rubbly. I would let Megan make the call.
Yeah,
on
the summit kind of has
Yeah,
this
Megan, you
linear
see these
shape,
rocks
so there's
here?
quite a bit
Yeah.
to
Do these look
explore
rubbly
up
to
there,
you?
at least.
Hang on. Sorry.
It'll
Say
be
again.
interesting to see if
Do
it's
these look like
sedimented
anything
or
potentially
not.
sampleable? Like, or is that too rubbly?
Which ones?
Upper
Specifically?
right,
Upper right. If you think it's possible, yeah.
maybe. I guess there's also some more clearing coming up here too.
Yeah, yeah, I would push on.
Yeah, we're going to have probably another 100, 120 meters where it's this.
Flat spot.
Yeah.
So if we're thinking of probably finishing this set of this long dive later today, that might actually be on our next watch.
Yeah, we should have our next watch.
Yeah.
So get some rest in between
Yeah.
people. We get to end. Is that just a weird rock?
I don't.
Maybe.
That looks like something
What are you seeing?
at the
Just
bottom
right
of the.
went out. It just went out the bottom
I
of
don't-
the screen.
Right
I think that was.
there.
Do we just want it to be? I want it to
Bottom
be
right?
something.
It
I
just
think it's
yeah.
just that
Yeah,
weird
that
straight line.
sort of dark.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
shallow
weird
bit rock.
fish-looking thing.
Does it look like a fish?
It
Or
does
am I
look like a
crazy?
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just take a quick
Looks like a rock.
You wanna go ahead and start your pushing in there
rock
video?
or fish. Rock or fish.
Fish.
Rock. Rock face.
Slipper.
What is that?
What?
Rock.
It's
I
a
Rock
guess,
has a
right?
crinoid on it.
It's a
Oh,
crinoid.
It's a fish-shaped rock.
Bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum.
Okay.
okay.
Is
Megan.
it?
Right?
It's not a fish.
Well, we can push in more if you want.
It's a
It's a
rock.
rock.
I
It's a
don't
rock.
really know.
Most
The
fish do
eternal
not have
question.
Oh,
crinoids
you know
on
what?
them.
Is it a stick?
It looks
No.
like it's a little bit wedged in there.
It kind of looks like petrified wood.
It looks like a
Yeah.
stick, yeah.
Oh my god, the trees.
I mean, but you wouldn't.
I'm telling you.
Is it?
There are trees out here.
All right.
It doesn't look like a rock,
Rock?
to me.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Unless it's
Some
like a bit
might.
of weird extruded lava. Sometimes like.
Right there, though.
Yeah.
It's very like striated. Like has lines on it.
Yeah.
Which you would
All right.
see with like a squeeze
Go ahead
up
and
in
cut my video.
lava. Like, so if you have like, you know, it's billowing out and the lava's flowing, sometimes
Thank
the
you.
exterior will crack and then you'll get like a little fracture and then you'll get this weird squeeze out thing happening
Okay.
and it'll have those striations on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would be that here.
Usually underwater with something like that, it would be actually kind of like the other way. It would be ribbed out because like the bulb would be kind of on the right side
Okay.
and it would be like breaking through a crust that it's forming by
Mhm.
quenching. The kind of ropiness that you're describing is more common with like subaerial lava flows.
Steve said exposed vertical surface, which I don't really know what that means.
About what we just looked at.
Yeah, just lack of
What?
So-
sedimentation.
Exposed vertical surface.
I mean,
I like the
So what
We
we've been
agree.
seeing here, folks, is a rock.
Scientifically, we call this exposed vertical surface.
Yeah.
The surface might be a stick, it might be a rock, it might be a
It's-
fish. We don't know. Could be an airplane.
There's a lot of
Oh my
years
gosh.
of scientific
Too
study
soon,
in
Megan?
here to
Too
say
Yeah, I was gonna
rock.
say too soon.
There's a lot of more crumbly rocks here.
Yeah.
Yeah, do fields like this of kind of rubble, do those seem appealing to you, Megan, for rocks?
Sure. Yeah.
Roger.
I think we're kind of limited to rubble anyway. So if you see a rubble that's pick up a bull, then I
Like, do you think
would
those
think-
little
Yeah.
like
Those
pebbly
little
Middle
things
bits.
yeah.
How much more of a
They
ship
might
do
be.
you have right
I
now?
mean, they
I
could
think
also
it's
be
about
attached below the
another
sediment.
20
It's hard to
meters.
tell.
Should I just hold position?
Maybe we
Yeah, we
could
can
try
hold
one of
position, pick it
those.
up, and then maybe
Yeah.
run away.
Perfect.
So
Maybe-
something down in here, you think?
Yeah, let's just give it a try. See if
Yeah, sure.
Those pieces,
I
they
turned
might
on
be too
craft
big,
power
but the
to get that
ones
start
to the
going.
right at the
Gotcha,
base
thank
at
you.
the base of the screen, those are probably attached. But
These ones here, you mean center
they're
screen?
they're probably too big. At the corner of the screen, the bottom
that
right.
looks right.
Yeah. But the little ones right near the lasers,
Yeah.
those
might
are
be
like
good.
10 centimeters. Right?
yeah.
All right. I'll have a sit down. Video, make sure you're full wide, please. Thank you. Put my nose down right here. Just give it a poke and see what's going on. Do you mind? Bye.
No, go for it.
Thank you.
And the rocks will swim away.
Start floating away, yeah.
They should not be positively buoyant.
Just thinking if they're
Just
fish.
give it a poke right at the base. Try to agitate it a little bit, see if it'll let go.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems too familiar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, deja vu.
If the rock floats, then we're on to something.
All right, video, go ahead and push it a bit there, please. That's wonderful, thank you. That one's loose. Do you want something that loose?
I mean, I think it would be more ideal to have something that looked like it was fracturing off of one of these sort of in-place flows, but if we don't see anything, which we haven't been, I would say this would be better than
I might
nothing.
poke at that corner that you had seen, or
The one I'm sitting on?
yeah, you're
We
a
also
little bit too
see-
seated. Maybe that rock up in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, right under the shadow when you go over there. That's how you know you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
And it's right behind.
They're all rubbly. So it looks like these are all kind of rubbly bits. I can hop up here and see about these guys up here. Or does any of these in front of us sound good to you?
Did you see something promising up where you were just suggesting?
Yeah,
I mean, you can see kind of like up here, kind of where
Oh,
the
I
it's
see.
falling.
Like, yeah. I have kind of low hope for up there. So I think, what do you think, Alexis? Do you think we should just grab one of these guys? Yeah. All right. That sounds good to me.
We can also have a look over this way. Kind of all similar.
Yeah, I would be pretty skeptical for there to be kind of our perfect little broken off, but still in place with the lava flow.
It looks like
piece.
this field extends onwards. If you want, we can hold off for a bit.
Yeah, we have another like
Yeah,
80, 100 meters still.
we still have an hour. Yeah, that sounds good. We could keep doing that.
So hold off.
Probably have more options. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and come wide, please, video.
And this is the first spot that we've seen our whole dive where there's been anything even possible. So. Oh, you're not on SPL. Yeah.
Can we just take a look at the coral to the left while we're here?
Sure.
When you're done with your arm.
We can probably just stay where we are, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and push around in there.
This looks like a
Do a
different
couple
type
bumps.
of Plexara than we've seen. So
Yeah.
it looks like Swiftia.
It does look like Swiftia.
Thinking about a sample?
Thinking about it.
Is that an anemone?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an anemone in the middle. There's a
Yeah.
big ophoroid. That's one
Yeah,
brittle star
yeah.
on there.
Right.
They're always positioned so central to the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. We're not going to sample this one because I think we have one from Taita, which is not far from here. But
All right, so we're ready to
Roger.
move on.
great. Thank
Zooming
you.
out.
Go ahead.
We're full wide.
Roger, thank you.
And I'm going to turn your bender back on.
Roger. Thank you.
I really love the way like life just aggregates out here, right? So you'll have these seamounts and you'll have just, you know, one species
And I
will
was at
manage to get a
270,
foothold
so
and
I'm
then
coming
it
around.
starts to just sort of
Yeah.
aggregate around it, where they, either they're in working together or parasitizing, or it's just a great environment. It's just fun to kind of watch.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting to think about, like, how they find
Look
each
at
other.
this while we
Like,
drive
how does
by.
an associate find a coral?
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's like kind of working on some of that stuff. She's looking into some of the chemical signals that might be involved. It's just so complex.
Yeah. Because we're talking about vast, like, spaces here.
Right. Another very nice large bamboo.
It's really in the flow there, that one.
Yeah.
Are you guys able to comment a little bit on what we're looking for on a rock sample and how you're discriminating one versus that's desirable versus non-desirable, what we're hoping to find?
I could say a couple of
Good,
things.
are you going to do a partial zoom on this? Sure. But while we drive by it?
So the ideal
That's great,
sample
thank you.
would be something that we can tell is, well, I guess the real ideal sample would be if we could just like laser cut out a piece of one of these rocks, but that's not really possible because we don't have the same
Okay,
kind
go
of
ahead, come right, please.
force we would on land as we were speaking about earlier using
Good,
a
come right,
rock
please,
hammer.
video.
So
Thank you.
really, what's more realistic to grab with the
I am
manipulator
due north in heading.
Roger.
is a piece of
I
rock
need
that
to
is
Boogie myself over.
kind of obviously fractured from an in-place lava flow. So those pieces we were seeing earlier were kind of like little cobbles
Can I
that
still bubble?
Yeah, go ahead.
could have rolled down from somewhere above because we're still going upslope. They could have just broken off of something around that area, but we don't really know. So it's nice to have a piece that we know came from where we're collecting it, and that isn't that does have some fresh basalt would be cool. So not just completely covered in oxidation, but everything around here is fairly old. So it's more about finding something in place and the right size and pick upable. But those pieces we saw earlier would have been fine if we don't see anything else, really,
Yep.
to do some dating.
I checked and saw it, yeah.
Okay, numbers look good.
Nice. Curious that the primary drops so low. Temperature, pressure,
Bubbles.
bubbles. There wasn't any air in it though.
Well, just because there wasn't air where we looked.
It's true.
Otherwise, we wouldn't need a comp. All right, I'm back to 040.
Roger.
And tilting up on camera.
Roger.
I always think it's so interesting to think about, like, essentially what we're doing is we're climbing a mountain with a flashlight,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's exactly what we're doing.
And it's just like so crazy to think about what's all around us that
That
we
we're
can't
missing,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at that one tiny little bit.
Well, the
Yeah.
boring stuff, obviously. Otherwise, we'd be looking at it.
Yeah, I think some of the, like, there's some ideas in the works for, like, using autonomous vehicles to be able
Yeah.
to survey before
swarm.
Right, to swarm before
Yeah.
bringing a full like a ROV down, and I just personally look forward to the days where that's reality, just because you could have you could pinpoint your dive sites so much more accurately, because we really go off of bathymetry when we plan dives. We go off of what has high slope, where is there a ridge, so based off of just the topography. But if you had just a preliminary idea of where some of the like biology might be concentrated, you could really survey the areas where you know
Yeah,
you're
really
gonna
not a lot of
find.
sponges.
Yeah. And the swarming autonomous vehicles, they would have lights and cameras kind of thing, or would they just be mapping at higher resolution closer to the seafloor that would pick up corals?
So I think both are beneficial. I think we're more close to being able to just map at higher resolution, or 3D, like some 3D renditions. But
Yeah, go ahead. They're here to share.
There are some projects even starting where
You've been busy.
Where the autonomous vehicles would have cameras on them, and they could actually, but it's developing, the AI to where it could actually make decisions, so it doesn't run into the seamount, but it evades, and just kind of surveys around. But we're getting there. It's just
AUVs are definitely a tool used for mapping and preliminary mapping as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Adding the biological annotation is definitely trickier.
Yeah,
Of course.
Definitely hit a coring pipe with an AUV.
What?
I hit a coring pipe with an AUV.
Well, wasn't it on its own? Didn't it hit itself?
Yeah.
Don't blame yourself.
We sent it back specifically because it had come back in the side scan from the AUV to do a photo mosaic of whatever it had, what we had seen, and we just didn't realize it stuck so far up in the water column. Came back with a big gouge on the right on the prow.
AUVs sound like a tricky game to me. They better be very buoyant and
Autonomous anything is a bit tricky.
untethered.
But think about how much more they could see when we were talking about, just our limited capabilities and perception of color, and they would be able to look through much more of the EM spectrum than we could.
Oh wow,
that's a great thing to think about.
So not just increasing the area that we're able to look at, but also the type of information that we're able to even collect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the interesting work that's being done, at least for the midwater, is coupling the these kind of sensing vehicles to the acoustics and getting kind of the biological information coupled in that way to the physical environment.
A viewer made a great point, though, that we rely on a data cable here, and with AOVs, how much data would be able to transmit and capture.
Yeah, they're definitely more limited in kind of their endurance and kind of their payload, but they definitely can be pretty robust.
Surprising how blown over these firecracker, what are they called, firecrackers, or?
Yeah, the Iridogorgia.
Yeah, Iridogorgia.
Oh.
There's a little
Just another shrimp.
Just cruising.
Just cruising on by.
Shrimp highway.
Yep.
Heading to work.
It's about to go home and be like, guys, I think I saw an alien. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, Fred said he saw an alien again.
Yeah. Someone was talking about those aliens a couple years ago.
they've returned.
All I saw was a bright light. And then
Yeah.
I tried to abduct me.
I mean, does
Lasers.
this sound familiar, people? A bright light comes down from above,
With lasers.
grabs you in a tractor beam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grabs with a claw.
So
Yep.
we need a tractor beam is what
We
you're saying.
Hey, our
Jess, you
our
wanna-
tractor, their
wanna get
tractor beam
started
is
on
our
that?
slurp.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll start getting a tractor
We're
beam on.
gonna draw some crop circles over here in the ripples.
Herc stamp.
First stamp.
Herc
yeah.
stamp.
Nautilus was here.
We have definitely like
There was
gone
debate.
back to sites we've been to before and like seen our own footprints.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was debate about putting basically a metal print on the bottom of Herc that actually was the Nautilus logo. So when we did the
Oh
Herc
my
stamp, it would
gosh.
be.
I don't
Oh
like
my
that at
gosh.
all.
No, I'm not
Not a
comfortable
fan.
with that.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
died
crop
years
circle.
ago.
It died.
But I wonder if it is useful if you're going to do a repeat survey, you know, because then
Well, I mean, the Herc stamp's already there. Like, you know
Yeah.
where you
You
were.
know
This
it.
was
It's
just
pretty
advertising.
Rationalizing
It
the
was
hubris
me.
at this point. Yeah.
Just really trying to drive it home.
Yeah.
And usually you can even tell just based on the imprint if it was like Alvin or Herc
Right.
or
Yeah.
Jason,
Yeah.
you know, because everybody has a slightly different chassis.
Yeah.
There was some, you know, we sometimes do use sample markers. Usually they're just
Yeah.
like glorified bucket libs with
Yeah.
like a little number on it.
I mean, they are buckets.
Yeah, I was just going to
I
say
mean-
glorified.
Yeah, I mean, they are glorified. And there was a few sites that we were at earlier in the season where the previous scientists would write something like, "Do not enter, keep out. This is
Really?
hard." And it's like, wait a minute.
Rude.
Rude.
I like the flamingos personally.
The flamingos are awesome.
Yeah, the
Isn't
flamingos
that
are great.
Who does that? Pete Gurgis?
Which one, the flamingo?
These flamingos?
I don't know. I don't think it's Pete.
It's,
Who is
well, it's
it?
in Bari.
The flamingos
Bari.
are in Bari, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They stopped doing that, though.
What? Really?
That's what I heard.
Why? So enjoyable.
Wait, what are we talking about? Flamingos?
Using a
Think
They would
flamingo.
flamingos
leave
on the
plastic
seafloor.
flamingos as their markers on the seafloor. So when you like came back to your site, you knew you were there.
Instead
Hey,
of like a
Megan.
bucket lid
Yeah.
with a weight.
Megan,
Just what-
what do you think about any rocks in here?
Yeah, those look
These look more
nice.
promising
Right,
to you?
yeah, right near the base of the
Of that little
the-
ledge?
Yeah, the little ledge in front of you.
Little
would
I'm
hold
going
be-
to hold
position.
position, yeah.
Yep.
would be
Thank
good.
you.
It's interesting, those Caligorgia we've seen a couple times, and they're always
Yeah.
very covered in other
Skydiving.
animals.
Indeed.
Whenever I see an ophroid or crinoid just like launch themselves off of a either the
Greg,
top
would
of
you
a
mind giving
coral
me
or a
bubble
cliff,
cam to the
Yeah.
porch? Sorry. Thank you.
skydiving.
Sit right. So I guess we'll inspect over here first.
Yeah, I know they're looking less promising as we get closer.
Yeah. Maybe up to the upper right,
Yeah.
thinking. Slide a little bit forward. It looks all pretty intact though, does it, Megan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not as good a spot as we thought.
The one I'm looking at is actually the one behind the stalked crinoid.
The one on the far
To
corner?
to the left or
Oh.
right? Oh,
Just
yeah,
like
I see.
directly behind
Yeah,
the stalked
yeah,
crinoid.
yeah.
Now let's have a look.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one also kind of right in front of us, I think.
Which one right in front of us?
If you zoom out or oh no. Is
Or-
that
or
that one right
full
there?
wide.
Yeah.
The one to the lower left?
Kind of like just in front of the porch.
Oh, okay, yeah, so just in front of the weights on the
Yeah.
left side.
We can try that one since it's right there.
Coming up, spinning around.
Roger.
I'm curious about what things look like upslope because a lot of these look like they kind of tumbled down.
Come live. Video, would you mind pushing in there, please? Sorry, my voice is now leaving the building.
No. You want me to go full in?
That's
or?
great right there. You sound like a chain smoker.
Oh, that's on there.
Probably intact, this one.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that one
Deceptive.
wants to move.
Wants to move us.
That's always the one we want.
Going to come wide there a little bit, please? That's great. We'll have a look around here before we move.
What about
Yeah.
that flat one? Or that flattish looking one?
Where?
Yeah, right next to the arm.
This one over here?
That looks intact to me.
Underneath, kind of more towards the actual,
This one?
over that way.
The one
Yeah.
on the top
Yeah.
might be intact. Let's see, let's get the bigger, wider.
I have a feeling it's
Oh,
intact,
it's gonna be
but
attached.
it
Yeah.
would
What
be a
about-
nice one if it wasn't.
That's attached.
If
yeah.
you zoom back out, if you can do that, where we just were to the left of where we were just trying to grab that one, that was near our porch. Go down. Over to the left a little bit. I don't know if that's too difficult from where we are.
The one all the way in the corner over there?
Kind of at the joint of Mango.
That one looks a little
Like just kind of
fused, doesn't it?
behind Mango?
Yeah,
or the
just-
one in the pocket of sand?
The-
It's still a hard reach from where
Yeah,
we are.
yeah, okay.
I'll reposition.
Yeah, no worries then.
I'll just jump up a little bit here and then we
That-
can have another look.
That one behind the, what was it, a crinoid up there?
Yeah.
That one looked like pretty
Do
promising.
you have the reach to touch that?
Maybe. I can try. Do you want to do one ship move back there real quick?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to
Just
do
like
10 meters.
10
It's
meters
going to
is
be
good.
like, oh no, you might have it.
Ugh.
Keep
Stretch,
reaching.
stretch, stretch.
Do you want me to zoom, Jess?
Sure, go ahead and push in a bit there, please. That's great right there. And that's pretty intact, hey?
Oh, really? The one, oh, wow.
Oh, just flake.
Oh,
Yes! Yes!
Popped
Woohoo,
it.
sucker!
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, we just
Perfect.
blew out your eardrums, guys. We got really
Dream
excited.
rock. Nice.
Nice job.
Oh,
Excellent.
that's so cool.
Excuse me, Mr.
Excellent
Crinoid,
work.
you're in the way.
Yeah, it's good,
Guardian of the rock.
Excuse me, crinoid.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
As long as we don't take you with it, it'll be a bad day for
Invasion
you.
of the rock.
just not on it.
Yeah, dang.
Oh,
So close.
You got it, you got it.
One more try.
Yeah.
Go ahead and come a little wide.
Best rock, guys.
really, really well done. So,
This
this is 10.
10.
Yeah, and so we can put this probably in the
Go ahead and
starboard
come in a bit
side
there,
would
video,
be
please.
the best choice.
That's great, yeah, thank you.
Nice, excellent. Beauty shot. I like it.
You like this one? All right,
I like this.
we'll have to pick up pretty soon. The wall's getting closer.
Great. So we have those 3 little
Go ahead
ones
and come wide, please.
still available and the forward big one on the starboard side.
Roger.
So box E. A, B, C, and E.
Box E.
Yeah. If it doesn't fit in the little one, which I'm not totally sure if it will, then you can go and put it in the big one.
All right, Greg.
Ready to switch?
Yeah, go ahead. Tornado.
Okay. Yep.
Wow.
I'm gonna kill one of my birds.
Oh, we don't have anything floaty, right?
You should be fine.
Okay,
We
never
just open it slowly, I guess. If it can fit in a little one, that would be cool to save the big one in case we get something
You're pushing off the wall.
exciting.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, go for it.
Roger, we can see. I'm on the box here. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, then just go for the big one. That's totally fine. Go for E, the forward big one.
Okay.
Yeah, Emma, we can hear you.
Great.
Can you hear her?
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Hey, Emma, we can hear you. You're like constantly on.
I called that rock, though.
Yeah, that was a good call. Stand by one. I'm gonna just.
We're not. The acorn worm is safe and with no rocks.
I'm just gonna move a little bit. Coming up. Greg, would you mind giving me the porch on bubble again, please?
Yep.
When you guys are manipulating the arms, do you have any sort of like haptic feedback? What does it feel like when you're doing that?
So the arm does come with force feedback, and it's one of the more finicky items on it, so we often don't pilot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that then you have to be very aware visually as to if you're bumping on anything.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen is that you'll get the arm caught on something, not realize it, keep trying to move it. Eventually the arm will, you know, like slide past whatever it was caught on and then just slam over to a position. So it's
Coming up a bit here.
yeah, it's basically if you go to move the arm, like if you move the Mini Master and the arm on the vehicle doesn't mimic the exact same motion, then you're caught on something.
Okay. So you're really relying on visual cues there.
Yeah.
Yeah, solely on visual cues.
Yeah, and like we have 2 cameras so that you can get an idea of depth perception, but a lot of pilots end up just using shadows.
Oh, wow.
You know, and so then if somebody changes the way the lights are positioned on the light bar, it like really messes with us.
Oh.
Fun prank for play on pilots. In case you're wondering.
Coming up. Yeah, go ahead.
Not so fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring my heading back around to 4-0.
Roger.
So I would imagine that the different like ROVs that you work on each have like their own sort of signature and feel that you have to get used to. Are they all fairly different?
They're all slightly different. Everyone's, they're store-bought ones, and those are going to be the same all around, but the everything flies a little bit differently, and part of it is just, is it underpowered? Where does it have larger thrusters? Like we have smaller thrusters for our lats. And then our larger thrusters for our verticals. But our verticals are angled vertically instead of slightly angled out, and so then that also changes how things feel.
Yeah.
And then different levels of water resistance as you're pushing through the water. So there's a lot of different aspects involved.
Yeah. How long have you been like operating remote operated vehicles?
I started with this group or was introduced to ROVs, I guess, with this group in 2010.
Okay.
What about you, Jess?
What was that?
How long have you been with
I've been
ROVs?
with the Nautilus since 2015.
2015. Okay.
Is it common for ROV pilots to circulate between different vehicles, or do most people work on just one?
It depends on what, like how much work you're looking for, how much work you're being offered, stuff like that.
Sounds like being a freelance photographer.
Yeah, you know, for a while I was working on multiple ships, and then now I just work on this ship, and it comes with its risk, but it's also, you know, easier and comforting, you know, because you're in the same space all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know the vehicle so well if you're working on it all the time.
Fish.
Oh, hi, fish.
Could we take
wanna
a
see the
zoom
fish?
on that fish?
Sure thing. Go ahead, video.
What are you?
Looks like maybe a Synaphabranchid eel.
It's beautiful.
He really is.
Gonna hit the ground.
Well, he's
there.
more than
Boink.
10
Yeah, he's like
centimeters.
Yeah.
almost 30.
It's a fast mover too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Synaphabranchid.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
He's not happy with that.
Yeah. He's like, oh,
Let me eat this laser.
All right, sorry.
That's
Go
good,
ahead and come
thank
a little
you.
wide, please.
it's those lights Fred was talking about.
He's like, Fred's not lying.
Come full wide.
Thank you.
What about like customization on the ROVs? Do you guys ever play with, you know, new sample collection tools, or is the ROV from one ship to another pretty similar in that sense?
No, everybody has their own way of doing things. I mean, there's like push cores. Everybody has push cores. And then, you know, for a while, this vehicle specialized in archaeology. So we had a lot of things and tools that were designed specifically for archaeology. And then we started to add in tools that, you know, kind of subtract those and add in tools that were better for science and biological sampling.
We got slurps in 2015.
Slurp, slurp.
Yeah, we got the big set of
The
slurps
big,
in 20.
the chamber, the carousel. Slurp
Yeah.
carousel.
And prior to that, we had a two-chamber slurp that was up there. And before that, we had a silt prop because it would help to blow away, like add in fresh water or get rid of water. You know, if you're dusting in front of you, because we actually had like, you know, a full archaeology set, paintbrush, everything. So if you're dusting in front of you, then soon you can't see. So we would have a small prop up there to kind of just move water through.
The med work sounds pretty fantastic. What you guys do over there?
The what?
So the med work sounds pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys did on the archaeological digs.
Sounds really cool.
So if I were an engineer and I wanted to, you know, offer the next big thing for an ROV, what would that be?
Well, I'd probably go around and talk to a lot of the different groups. And then there's the question of, are you looking at industrial or scientific? Right, because industrial, they're looking for something totally different than what we would be looking for.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing for an ROV right now that scientists
Coming up.
all over could probably agree on is a way to get rocks in situ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Coming up.
Yep.
Which is what Spencer is
Take
working
a
on.
zoom on the coral that's just above the lasers.
Sorry?
Can we just take a zoom on that coral that's just above the lasers?
Sure, the pink
A
one.
little white, yeah, white
Yeah,
and
or
pink
just
one.
to the right now.
Yeah,
Right,
so what
Lydia, go
Spencer
ahead,
is
push
working
up
on
there, please.
is like, you know,
You can do a quick zoom on this. We'll probably boogie pretty soon.
So for those who are wondering, there's a project last season or 2 seasons ago?
I think it was last season.
Last season, looking at a gripper arm that would allow for an ability to penetrate the rock instead of having to find a loose one that would have to be taken up to the surface.
I think it was to like anchor yourself to a
Yeah, it was
point
No.
to
so
anchor
that you
yourself,
can
and then there would
sample.
be a drill.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the idea of an underwater drill brings quite a few challenges, though.
Yeah, well, it would have to be
Come a little right
hydraulic,
there,
but
please, video.
you'd also have to have quick disconnects on it, so that way if it got stuck in the rock, you know, like totally
That's
bound up,
good,
you
thank you.
didn't lose the vehicle
That's
as
good
a
for you
result.
there.
Yeah.
Roger.
Looks like the
Oh, I
bamboo
never
that
even thought of that.
Yeah.
Emil collected earlier.
Literally screw yourself to the bottom.
Yep.
Coming up. I'm going to square up on my cam here. This is still pretty jumpy.
In the theme of the geological perspective, someone's asking, what would be
Coming
the
up.
absolute fantasy material? What's the home run unicorn catch geologically that we'd like to see,
Like to find down at the seafloor?
other than, you know, big
Actual
old
lava flow.
Asteroid.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The KT asteroid.
I mean, so these lava flows are all basaltic, and they have this manganese kind of crust. And I guess the home run is something that's characteristic of what we're looking at. So finding something in place that we can study both the crust and the basalt is kind of the goal.
It's a beautiful scientist answer. What's the dream substance? The one that fits the data.
The one that's real.
The one that's real, yeah.
But I think it's I think really beautiful rocks are the freshly laid, really glassy basalts. Those I think are really fun to collect and really fun to study.
Those are hard to collect because sometimes it's, well, you're picking up glass with a metal claw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg probably remembers the extreme difficulty in picking up our lava balloon samples, which were
My the sample
Glass
I will
foam.
always remember is the one in the Galapagos, where, you know, the layback was ridiculous. So you had one shot to sample something, and it was super glassy. Grabbed it with the claw, picked it up, you know, didn't have time to store it, so tucked it in front of the main HD and drove off with the vehicle.
like
and
hugging it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
hugging it.
Like a
And
football.
and just racing forward so then we could store it.
Yeah.
And the jaw, like, it was just too much pressure, and we go to slow down to store it, and it just shatters into like it was like a glitter bomb in front of the camera. and like there was no going back to sample it because
Yeah.
it would have been 3 hours to
Sounds
stop
like
the ship,
Galapagos.
take care of the swing, get back to it. Yeah, I'll never forget that sample. It was amazing to see a glitter bomb in front of the camera, but it was not what we were going for.
I mean, as we're continuing upslope here, do you guys have other, like, so there's a lot of years of experience in this van here of deep sea exploration. What are some other, like, highlight moments of really either wow things or scientifically fascinating things that you've seen?
Ben, what's your favorite thing you've seen?
I did enjoy that pelican eel we saw. That was really cool.
What's a pelican eel look like?
It's this relatively unknown fish that has this big, like, mouth with these that can really extend itself, and it's used for, I guess,
Is it the gulper eel?
Yeah,
yeah,
gulper
exactly,
eel.
the gulper.
Okay.
But
What is
I don't think
is
that
it engorged?
it was engorged. But yeah, that was really neat. We were all super excited about that.
And that was up in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had no idea what it was from a distance, and the conformation of its head shape was just bizarre.
Yeah.
It looked gelatinous, and I guess that the behavior itself looked quite defensive, like it was orienting towards the light, and kind of shaking its head. So, because those mouth parts, that morphology is more for engulfing a large amount of water for foraging. So that behavior looked interesting to see.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone's kind of followed up on that.
Well, it's always, it's harder to eat something if it's you think it's too big.
Right, right. Exactly. It looked like classic defense like that.
I suppose if I saw something with big eyes, big arms, and hunk of yellow metal, I'd probably get defensive too.
Yeah. Surprised there's not like a swarm of critters just attacking us at all times. No.
It's a big slime star up there. Might attack us.
Where do you see the slime star?
Just to the right and up
Like-
of lasers.
Like at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Slimy.
Slimy.
Do you want to have a look at it, or?
No, I think we're good.
I'm
Roger.
assuming that the slime stars are aptly named.
Yeah, they
They
get
are, in
really
fact,
slimy
slimy.
when they
Yeah.
come to the surface. I've
So-
actually never collected one. I've just been told.
Only
what
when they come to the
happens.
surface, or are they slimy at depth as well? Do we know?
I don't think so.
Well, you'd have to go down to depth to find out. That's the hard part.
Fair enough.
They might have like a layer of mucus, but they're probably not. I think then they come up, they like ooze slime.
That's
Really?
probably like the hagfish of defense mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently those proteins that make that are like pretty novel. Like
Oh.
the per protein amount of gelatinous material formed is like
Wow.
unprecedented
That's
With the
cool.
slime star or hagfish?
for the
Really?
hagfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Never interacted with the slime from these hagfish.
What is it? You may not love hagfish, but hagfish have like 4 hearts, so they've got plenty of love for you.
Aw.
Oh.
They have 4 hearts?
Yeah, it's not.
What?
It's not quite a
Oh.
heart, I think, if I remember correctly, but it's.
There's all these
Capable.
little like
Yeah.
dots on the top of this one. Can
Oh,
we take
yeah.
a look at those?
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, those hagfish phylogenetically are like kind of a turning point. I didn't really. It's interesting that they're this like inflection.
Huh.
It's hard to say what the coolest thing I've seen is.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down here.
Just tell me when.
Go ahead. We'll just pan around and zoom on anything you see here.
Oh wow.
Oh,
What are
hello.
these little things?
That
I
holothurian
think there's some right in
has
front of you too.
style.
Oh, barnacles.
Barnacles, yeah.
Oh.
They look like tiny
What
volcanoes.
harmony.
They do look like tiny volcanoes.
How about this? There's one right here.
Tiny what?
Tiny
Volcanoes.
volcanoes.
Tiny volcanoes. Yes.
Oh, hello.
Small little houses.
A
Wow.
bunch of little teepees or
Little,
yurts.
yeah, little teepee yurts.
Don't see feeding happening. I wonder if they're alive. I can't tell. But
Let's
that's interesting. They're
see.
all kind of right there. I wonder if it was like a one recruitment event
Right.
because
We're zoomed all the
they're
way
not
in.
like anywhere
Better.
else.
Hmm.
So like a bunch of them just like settled at the same time maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
you
different
guys-
sizes too, so.
Yeah.
All right,
I
Jess,
don't know.
what's the last thing you want to do before you get
Really
off
zoom on
watch?
barnacles.
Then you're all set.
There's one with the feeding tube actually here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, where?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi.
This is feed out. Siri.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
All
so
right.
they're
You
filter
guys
feeding there as
satisfied
well.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Zoom
Alright,
out.
go ahead, come
Yeah.
away. Yeah,
This is
please.
kind of the
Cool.
highest little mound in this little area, so makes sense.
And then what's our little friend up there?
It looks like a.
Looks like
it's
an
an
urchin.
urchin.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know
oh.
what kind, but
It is.
Those are hard to sample.
yeah.
Coming up. Booking on.
Also coming up. I'm still holding 040.
Roger.
Before. No.
No, you're good. You can keep
Okay.
moving if you want.
Just a little barnacle community.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a nice long whips.
It's a big corkscrew.
Yeah.